Now we're moving into our final segment, which is Luke's death and the destruction of the Jedi. It gets to a point where Luke states that the Jedi were wrong and how arrogant of them, to have control of the Force. That the Sith right below their noses, right in front of them, took over the galaxy. And how arrogant. And then we see that when he's about to burn the Jedi tree, the one that causes it to burst is Yoda. So it's the two of the most powerful Jedi that destroy the tree. And then we see the final battle where Luke faces Kylo, but he doesn't strike them. He's a hologram. He just is kind of holding him back. And that causes him to, that was his last effort, of energy of just, projecting from one planet to another, and that kills him. And I love this scene because we see the beginning of Luke in the first Star Wars movie. We see the two suns, in Tatooine, and that's, the hallmark of Luke. And then we see in the end where he looks at the distance, and we see those two suns. So we see the beginning and the end of Luke with the same scene of the two suns.
Full circle with the two sons, no? So from birth to death. Yeah, well, it's interesting the fact that it is the two Jedi that actually destroy that the Jedi tree and all the books and the knowledge that was there. And what you were saying about the arrogance and maybe corruption, well, I think that's the human condition. That's humans running a sort of religion or an organization, at least, that has some principles that were either created or interpreted by humans, and they imprint the human nature into them. When they decide to destroy the tree, to burn it down, well, it's also a sort of transcendence, no? Because it's like in religion, it's not worshiping the image or worshiping the place, or everything is sacred. No, we should be worshiping creation because that's what's sacred. Everything which is flowing from God into existence is divine. And when they burn that down, they leave that human condition of nostalgia and ownership. They put it to the side, and they understand that the force and the concept of the force, it's beyond any objects that are material and that can be found in this earth or in this world. No? So I think that's a way to bring the whole idea of the force one step further. No?
Mm-hmm.
And going into the last battle, you really pointed it out well. It's just a way to delay Kylo Ren from entering the rebel base and going after the heroes. No? And in that way, he puts all of his remaining energy into that act, and then he transcends. Just like Darth Vader didn't really kill Obi-Wan in my eyes. No,
No, exactly. No.
Obi-Wan just transcended. He became one with the Force, and that's what Luke did. No, he fulfilled his destiny to what was meant to be in this plane of existence, and he passed on and became one with the Force.
But yes, exactly. It's transcending in both cases, in the Jedi concept and in him as a transcending from this material plane to another plane.
A Jedi going to heaven.
Exactly.
This thing about the transcendence. I mean, we saw it done. Remember, we saw Obi-Wan struck down by violence, basically. Okay, and he transcends. Okay, then we see Yoda dying, basically of old age. He's given his all, and he's lived his life, and his body is now ready to be gone, and so then he transcends. And Luke is more like a sort of somewhat of a savior figure, in that he gives all that he has at the end he's not going. It's not because necessarily his body or his age is doing it, but he literally is giving his all. And then he transcends. Okay. And it's sort of like when they do away with all of the old Jedi traditions and knowledge and all of those sort of things. It was sort of like it's a dispersal of all that is true, good, and beautiful that they have had out, and so they're doing away with the old remnants that may or probably would hold society or humanity back, or all of the creation. Okay. And so it's sort of like you have to the rigor with which they were holding a lot of these things so close. They got to the point to where they realized that this belonged to the cosmos, and so let's do away, with that, and let the force be out among, which is like, for
Free.
me, yeah, free. And it, for me,
Liberation. Yeah.
the force is all that is true, all that is good, and all that is beautiful. Okay. And so it was like a pouring out of that, and some religious traditions, one that some of us here share, is that we believe that this is happened for us, and that all that was true and beautiful and goodness has been poured out and is here presently working in our lives. So here's another example within the myth that talks about what can happen and has happened for us as we believe it. In reality, humans and all creatures leave this mortal existence in some form or fashion, be it unfortunately by violence or by old age or just by giving your all and to your fellows. And so it was, I just, when you look at those three ways and they all transcended, it was just a reminder of things that do happen in our lives, that and can happen in our lives. And that just to be aware of them and realize that truth, beauty, and goodness is around us all the time.
You guys brought up the fact that how they quietly laid their lives down, and there's a great quote that I've remembered and found, and it goes like this: "It is easy to die in a line of physical battle when your courage is strengthened by the presence of your fighting comrades. But it requires a higher, more profound form of human courage and devotion. Calmly and all alone lay down your life for the love of truth enshrined in your mortal heart."
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of what I
Yeah.
envision when you guys
Nice.
are talking about that. So.
But it is, and what I love about this in Star Wars, and as we can all see it, we're all part of it, and that's what's beautiful. It doesn't exclude anybody. Star Wars is all inclusive. You were saying, Margie, that this is the myth of our times, and I see it that way as well. The beauty about this is that George Lucas took this to a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, but it took all the cultures of the world and projects them in the different worlds, all these stories. And that's what's beautiful about Star Wars. It's a huge canon where you find everything, all myth in there, and you can extract all wisdom. I mean, just right now, just of analyzing one of the characters, I mean, such an important character as Luke Skywalker, but all the wisdom that we found and that we can apply to ourselves, to that divine within that we have within us, that really guides us. And what I like about this session is that, we found that the hero starts being an ordinary person, and that the hero can make mistakes, but he can redeem himself as well. And in the end, we saw Luke giving the all to save his friends. And in the end, what did he do? It was buy time for his friends to get saved, for his sister to get saved. So that's so noble and that's so beautiful. And that's, I think, where we're going to end this conversation. I really enjoyed it. We're going to probably have more, this is just Luke Skywalker, and there's many other characters and many other topics. So I really enjoyed it. And if you did, we'll have you guys here. So Margie, thanks a lot for your participation. Ian, thanks a lot Poncho, thanks a lot. Really appreciate you being here. Your knowledge was really, really good for this show. And thank all of you for being here, for participating, for lending us your ears. If you like this, like I always said, not only if you like it, like, subscribe, share, and do whatever you want to do with this information, but only if you like it. So thanks for participating. I am Santiago Kneeland. This is The Divine Within, the Invisible Connection with God. So thank you. See you later. Carpe diem and seize the day.